Welcome back, everyone. It is day 30 of the solo house flipping series, and it is Saturday today, and Django is excited to be going to work. And today we are at a new spot. We are headed to Lowe's, and we got shower waterproofing on our mind. So we are going to load up our cart with a bunch of waterproofing supplies and head on over to that GoBoard. That's right, that is what we are going to be using to waterproof these two showers, is this GoBoard system. It comes in 3 by 5 foot sheets, and it's 1/2 inch thick, and it's this very dense foam that is nice and light and very easy to cut and use. So let's head on into that bathroom and take a look at what we are dealing with. It is my plan to get this all waterproof. But first, we need to fur out these valves and that shower head about 1/2 inch to make sure that our waterproofing and our new tile will line up correctly. Once that's all said and done, I am going to start moving on to that copper tub spout. What I like to do is pro press this 90-degree fitting on there using this manual pro press tool. So I am going to get it all measured up and get the correct distance off of the tub and get my copper cut and get it everything pro pressed and lined up. I'm also going to work really hard to make sure that this is all nice and level. This is what it looks like when it's all put together, but it is a little wobbly, and that's not good. So I want to get some of these clamps screwed on there to make sure this is well supported. I'm going to stick a 2x4 back there as well as a piece of plywood and make sure that this is all good and leveled. I'm also going to put one of those 1/2 inch shark bites at the end of that copper pipe. Now that that's done, I am also going to be putting in one of these test pieces into that top shower valve so I can pressurize the system and make sure there is no leaks. Now I need to do some additional framing at this location and also at this location. If you remember from the previous episode, I had to demo out this closet. I needed to do this to open up this space. So I need to add in some additional 2x4s so I have a spot to screw my new waterproofing to, as well as my drywall. This is definitely going to start to take shape, and it's going to look really nice when I get both those elements in this bathroom. And this is what it looks like when I got both of those 2x4s in. We are all studded up and ready to go. But first, it is very important that I take some time to make sure that all the 2x4s are in line and everything is relatively level and plumb. It makes a world of difference when you are tiling a tub. So I need to get this GoBoard on. I'm going to use these washers and these screws to fasten the GoBoard to the existing framing, and this is a sealant based product, so I'm going to be using this GoBoard Pro sealant. I'm going to run a bead of sealant on the flange of the tub, and I'm going to get my first piece of GoBoard on there and fasten it with a bunch of screws and washers. I'm also going to be placing sealant between the two pieces. I need to cut that top piece to fit it, and all you need is just a regular utility knife. I'm going to measure down to the height I need, and I'm just going to score it like a piece of drywall and snap it and then cut up the rest. It's so nice to be able to use this product. It is very user friendly and it's worth the money. Now I'm going to transfer over to that other wall and start getting it all fastened up. And speaking of money, this whole system for the 2 showers cost me about $550. It's definitely a little bit pricey, but it's just a lot easier to work with compared to Durarock. Now in this wall, I need to work around the tub spout, the mixing valve, and also that shower head. So I'm going to use my 2 hole saws, my 4 1/4 and then also my 1-inch hole saw, and I'm going to be applying these gaskets and waterproofing around those 2 things to make sure that I have a watertight seal. So next step is I just need to measure everything and cut it to width, height, and length, and then I'm also going to cut out those holes for those elements. And now that we got that wall all set and secure, we are going to be moving on to the edge of the tub here. I like to run my GoBoard and also my tile at least a couple inches along that edge of the tub. In my experience, that edge is a huge leak point, and whenever you see drywall there, it is always corroded and messed up. It's just best practice to run your waterproofing down there and also tile. Next step is to get these gaskets around that mixing valve, so I'm going to be applying that sealant, and I'm just going to be rubbing it all out with my putty knife, and I'm also going to head up top and do the same thing to that valve up there to make sure that I have a watertight seal. And this is what it looks like when it's all said and done, and we are good and looking pretty waterproof. Next up is these seams, and I'm going to be using this GoBoard seam fabric. I like to start with my inside corners, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that seam fabric to length, and then I'm going to take some of that GoBoard sealant and just start applying it and using that same method with my putty knife to smooth it out. It is a very nice and seamless thing to do. I also need to apply sealant to all those washer heads, and I'm going to take the time to apply a little bit more sealant to the bottom of that tub. And now we are all set, and this is waterproof and ready for tile. And you know what? Django didn't move in that entire process, but I was able to work around him, and we are looking spot on and good. So next step is to head down into the basement and do that same exact thing. But first, Django of course followed me down there, and he deserves some head scratches for working on this Saturday. I am going to be burying this window behind this wall, so I want to take it out. So I'm going to unfasten that security bar, take that window out, and get everything cleaned up. Now I'm going to head outside, and I'm just going to be applying some black spray paint to that window just to make sure that no one can look in. I also needed to put some additional framing in down here, and let's jump over to a quick day 30 recap. For labor, I have a total of 242 hours so far, and for material and holding costs, I have $12,730. And now that that window is all dry, I can get that back in and secure, and I'm also going to be applying some sealant around it to make sure that it's airtight. And now I'm going to go get my insulation and start getting that all cut and fit so it's nice and good. And next step is pretty much just rinse and repeat for what I did upstairs with that GoBoard system. I'm going to be continuing to apply that GoBoard sealant at that bottom of the pan and also between all of the joints of that GoBoard. And I'm also going to be screwing it in and fastening it to the studs with those screws and those washers. This is definitely a really nice system to use, and I would recommend anyone to give it a try. And that is going to be a wrap for day 30. I'm really happy for the progress that we made on a Saturday. And you know what? I couldn't have done it without Django keeping a close and watchful eye on me. He's the best supervisor out there.